Thank you. Jillian?
Thanks, Leland. Here with more is New York Congressman Tom Reed, a Republican. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. The president just now in this press conference said the wall is going to happen or we're not going to have DACA. He then went on to say in the same sentence, and we all want DACA to happen. When asked by a reporter if this needs to be in the same piece of legislation, the president unequivocally said yes. What do you say to that?
Well, I think there's a deal to be struck there, to be perfectly honest with you. And what the president's articulating is what I've been working on in the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is a bipartisan group of members, 24 on each side, that really rolled up their sleeves. And if you really compromise and get to 80% on both these issues, the border wall, the security, and also DACA, you can find that solution. But it's about legitimate compromise. You need good faith actors at the table to get it done on both sides of the aisle.
What is 80% on DACA and 80% on the wall even look like in legislation?
Well, I think you can recognize that these are children, and these are children under the DACA situation, and recognize they didn't do anything to cause the situation they're within. But you want to make sure that you're fixing the problem that caused the issue to be created to begin with. That's where the border security component of it has to come in. That's where a wall component comes into it. But that's where construction, other technologies being deployed. We got to do this smart. These are taxpayer dollars that need to be invested on the wall, not just building a structure, but keeping us secure.
But I guess what I don't understand, Congressman, is when it comes to DACA, isn't it a winner-take-all, zero-sum situation, whatever you want to call it? I mean, these people are either going to, there's going to be a legislative fix that allows Dreamers to stay in the United States, or there's not. Isn't it yes or no?
Well, you know, obviously it needs to be addressed legislatively, and that's why I appreciate the president deferring to Congress to do its job on the issue. But the status of the children is one thing, but then you got their parents, you got their relatives, and where do they go? When do they become eligible for potentially citizenship? What do they have to demonstrate to stay out of trouble? Those types of conversations have been had. But to your point, if they come to the table on the other side of the aisle, which I saw during the end of our negotiations, and just said it has to be the DREAM Act or nothing at all, that's not legislating through compromise. That's just legislating by saying it's our way or the highway. And if you do that, you know who suffers at the end of the day? 850,000 children, and all the rest of us as America with an unsecured border. We should identify the common ground that we both support. That's why a deal can be done here if you have good faith people at the table.
Well, it's nice to hear, you know, folks like you speaking like this, to be candid. It's rare that these days that we hear, you know, lawmakers from either side of the aisle express that striking bipartisan deals is a priority. So we appreciate that.
It has to be done, Jillian.
I want to just hear from you. So the president and the Republican leadership just came out of this hours-long huddle at Camp David. They were partially they were looking back at 2017 and touting their accomplishments, but I think more importantly for them right now, they're strategizing about 2018 and the midterms. If you were there, what would you be advising the president today and your colleagues?
Well, the first thing is we need to get the budget issue taken care of and funding the government and get that government by crisis taken care of through the rest of the year. I would put infrastructure. We, in a bipartisan way, with the leadership of Elizabeth Esty on the Democratic side and John Katko on our side as part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, are rolling proposal next week to fix America's infrastructure. That is something where I think you can really bring people together to rebuild America's streets, roads, sewer, and water. We need to do it. And I think that is an opportunity that should be at the top of the list.
Well, Congressman, we've got to leave it there, but thanks for your time today.